welcome to Getaway Day. I am your host, Gautam Rao, and I am flying solo today as Mason battles a tornado or something like that. So opening weekend is in the rearview mirror, and what a weekend it was. There's so much to get into. The agony of blown saves are back. The joy of victory and your team coming up on top is also back. So today I'm going to go through some winners and losers from opening weekend, and let's get right in. The first winner from opening weekend was the New York Yankees. And the New York Yankees had an unbelievable opening series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They won all 3 games, and then they put up some absolute mind-boggling numbers and record-setting performances from their offense. They scored 20 runs in their Saturday game against the Brewers with 9 home runs. Aaron Judge hit 3. He almost went deep for a 4th home run. Other guys, Jazz Chisholm, Paul Goldschmidt, Austin Wells had a few home runs. Anthony Volpe had a few home runs over the weekend. Pretty much everybody in this offense contributed, and it was just wire to wire, like an amazing 3-game set for the Yankees, who were kind of being left for dead in some ways with the major injuries to Garrett Cole, Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt, Giancarlo Stanton, all guys who were supposed to be key to this 2025 team, and now they're down all those guys, and everybody's picking the Red Sox to win the division, win the AL, and the Yankees kind of showed that they still have a very potent offense. Obviously, having Aaron Judge, the best hitter on the planet, as part of the lineup, helps a lot with that. Making that lineup go. But I mean, all the moves they made this year, bringing in Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and then getting a full season of Jazz and also like Austin Wells, that could lead to some really great results on offense. And it's kind of interesting that one thing is the talk of baseball right now, and it's the torpedo bat. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Yankees are doing this because of their equipment, which I don't believe to be true. Aaron Judge is not using the torpedo bat, and if you haven't heard about the torpedo bat yet, basically it's a different shaped barrel where the largest diameter portion of the bat is lower down towards the handle and not on the very end of the bat. So it's optimized per player, and the idea is that you have the biggest part of the barrel where the ball is typically hit by that specific player. So they noticed a guy like Anthony Volpe was hitting a lot of balls like closer to the label of the bat rather than closer to the end. So now he's got a bat where the big part is lower down, closer to his hands. He said it feels just like his old bat, but it feels like he's bought into it because the Yankees were able to show him data showing where on the bat he was hitting the ball previously. And, you know, it's a pretty simple concept. If you've got a larger area, you want that when you barrel up the ball, and ideally that can lead to more damage. So other guys like Goldschmidt, Austin Wells, Jazz Chisholm, they're all using this bat. Aaron Judge is not, and I can't really argue with him because the results speak for themselves, and that's essentially what he said. But I think the bigger point is that the Yankees are finding these edges on the margins, and that stuff really matters. I mean, it's amazing this wasn't actually found before. It had before this season or the last couple seasons, I guess. but the Yankees continue to be a team on the leading edge of technology and finding little benefits for their players. It's hard to quantify what this means, but I would not be shocked to see this becoming more of a trend across the league, as the Yankees have now showed kind of the proof of concept. This thing worked, and there's the slow-mo shots of Jazz Chisholm hitting home runs with this torpedo barreled bat. Guys take notice, and I would not be surprised to see more of this across the league. So just a little interesting trend to keep an eye on. But yeah, Yankees, 15 home runs in their opening series. They had 3 straight homers off Nestor Cortez in the Saturday game to start the game by Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and Judge. So don't count out the Yankees. The sky is not falling all the way. The Yankees are still to be reckoned with, and I still think they are the favorite in the AL East until proven otherwise. The next winner of the weekend are the New York Yankees and the St. Louis Cardinals. Sorry, already talked about the Yankees, but I thought it would be funny if I talked about the Cardinals and gave them some praise when Mason's not even with us. But they had themselves a great series against the Minnesota Twins. They took all 3 at Busch Stadium, and I think the Cardinals got a lot of hate in the offseason from their own fans, even because they were one of the least active teams. Transaction-wise, they didn't really bring in any free agents. Just kind of held steady. They bring back most of the same players as last year, and they're supposedly in a transition period where they're going to give additional playing time to younger players, and they had the cloud sort of the Nolan Arenado trade situation hanging over them for the offseason, but that's kind of behind them. And credit to Arenado for not making it a big deal, and he's business as usual. I mean, the guy only cares about winning in baseball, and he's single-minded in that regard, and that helps in this case because it's not something that's going to become a distraction for this team. I think that one of the things I noticed is that Nolan Arenado seems to have his bat speed back, and that is absolutely huge after he's had a couple of less than stellar seasons, especially last year, swinging maybe a slower bat, not really generating the power that we're used to seeing. He had a home run on opening day, looked really good in the series. I'm expecting bounce back. I think most people were expecting some bounce back, but to see it this early, it's a really good sign. And then really exciting to see Victor Scott hit a 3-run homer on Sunday to crack a game open against Bailey Ober of the Twins. He stole 3 bases, so he's showing what he's got in 2 aspects of his offensive game. I think that it's a really great development to see him succeeding right away. I think that's going to give him some confidence, and he's going to run with that center field job. Nolan Gorman, who's having trouble cracking the lineup, got in Sunday's game, and he went 3 for 4 with a home run. So it's not like the Cardinals are a team that's just giving out at-bats to has-been players or players that have low ceilings. We've seen what Nolan Gorman, when he's going right, can be based on his 2023 breakout season. I think this team is possibly going to shock people because it's not bad. It doesn't have terrible flaws. It doesn't have giant weaknesses. They've got a good bullpen. The starting staff is maybe lower ceiling, but they've got depth there. They've got Quinn Matthews in the minor leagues, pretty close to making his debut, I would say. And then the offense is going to get some bounce back from Arenado and others. and then just getting consistent, healthy playing time for a Lars Nootbaar, Jordan Walker. I think this Cardinals team could compete for a wild card slot if, or even a division spot if the Cubs and the Reds falter here. It's just something to keep an eye on, but great start for the Cardinals to start the year. And then my third winner of the opening weekend was Mackenzie Gore, young number one starter for the Washington Nationals. Pitched on opening day and did a fantastic job against a very, very good Phillies lineup. His final line, 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 1 hit, no walks, 13 strikeouts, 20 swinging strikes on 93 pitches. So extremely impressive performance. I watched a handful of innings. At the end of his start, he seemed to be getting stronger. He gave up the 1 hit in the second inning. Other than that, he was untouched. He was just striking guys out left and right. And amazing development for the Nationals if this can hold up, because the talent is not the question with Mackenzie Gore. He's been a former top pitching prospect in all of baseball with the Padres. He was a centerpiece, one of the centerpieces of the Juan Soto deal. And we've seen flashes of it at the major league level. And last year was a big step forward as he stayed healthy, relatively healthy throughout the season, put up a decent season, but there's more. There's potential for more. And this start is the evidence that he can realize it. And Mason and I talked about the Nationals being our surprise playoff team. If a lot of things go right, one of those things that would have to go right for that to happen is Mackenzie Gore takes that next step forward and becomes a top of rotation arm. And 13 strikeouts against the Phillies, that's not to be taken lightly. I'm very curious to see how his slider, which he kind of rolled out in this start, that got a lot of whiffs, is going to carry over, and whether he can be consistent with it. Mackenzie Gore's always had a really good fastball, mid-90s fastball with good shape, and then his changeup works really well. He's weirdly had reverse splits where lefties were just crushing him. Like, he's given up like an 800 plus OPS to left-handed batters in his career. Very odd for a power left-handed pitcher to struggle with same-handedness batters. But that's been the story of Gore. If he gets the slider going, then he has 3 bona fide good pitches, and that's that could propel him to being this awesome pitcher that he was supposed to be as a prospect. And I'm very excited. This was an awesome start, and the Phillies looked just completely baffled, and I'm hoping to see a lot more of that this season. Okay, so for the other side, losers. The number one loser on opening day was MLB themselves. I mean, everybody's waiting for their opening day games. A lot of them starting up around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and MLB TV just was not functioning. I mean, it just simply was not loading a single game. I mean, I've been waiting for how many months just for this day. It's a special day across the league, and the tech didn't work that day. I mean, that's a huge minus on one of the biggest days of the year. Your product's not working. Obviously, it's not all in their control, but this is something that needed to be worked out for such a important day. I mean, there's a potential that lost MLB.TV subscribers or more regular users. Like, this is an unacceptable outcome for this product. If MLB is going to have any share of the the greater sports broadcasting landscape. I mean, they got to get their streaming product right, and we've seen a lot of teams in flux with their TV situations and new direct-to-market, direct-to-consumer products for in-network streaming. 26 out of 30 teams now have that. I think that's a great step. So credit there for getting to a place where any person in any location can see their team. Those are good things, but got to get these little details right. And MLB's consistently flubs the small stuff, and that's got to be part of the reason they've struggled to capture fan base in some sense. Like, not that baseball's doing bad by any means. Like, they've still got their diehards, but bring in new fans. You got to be on your game. You can't let big opportunities like an opening day moment slip past. Second loser of the opening weekend, NL Central bullpens. Wow. This was rough. I mean, the Pirates, they played the Marlins. The Marlins are probably the most unrecognizable roster in the sport right now. And the Marlins lost 3 out of 4 with their closer, David Bednar, kind of picking up exactly where he left off last year, where he was just getting clobbered. And there was some idea that he may have been tipping pitches and that he had figured that out, but he looks lost out there. He pitched in 3 out of the 4 games in the series. He blew the save, he came in a tie game on opening day, gave up a walk-off. Then on Sunday, he gave up another walk-off on a wild pitch, and then he actually got one save, but he looked super shaky in that one too, giving up a big home run that brought the score within 1. I mean, it's not comfortable right now, and that opening day matchup, like Paul Skeens, Sandy Alcantara, these guys are just struggling to pick up wins because their bullpens and their run support just are not there typically. I don't know what's going on with Bednar, but he's clearly not pitching at the level that he was in 2023. I hope he gets it back, because when he's on, like, he can be a dominating closer. But right now, some work to be done to figure that out. Not sure where the Pirates would really go for an alternative, but I would not be surprised to see Bednar kind of demoted temporarily while he figures stuff out. The Cubs also had an interesting weekend for their bullpen, specifically on Sunday, where they had a nice 6-2 lead in the 8th inning, had a couple runners on base, and Eli Morgan, who had been an excellent reliever with Cleveland last year, just got pummeled by the Diamondbacks. He gave up 6 runs on 6 hits, and they turned a 6-2 lead into a 10-6 deficit by the end of that inning. He just had nothing. He gave up a homer to Gurriel to tie the game. Josh Naylor had a big hit in there, and it doesn't tell the story. You can't draw any conclusions from any single game or series, but if you watch the Cubs last year, some of the early season bullpen woes felt like they sort of tanked the season in some unquantifiable way, right? Obviously, there's the losses. That's the quantifiable part, but there's the weight of feeling like you have to you have to do enough so that your bullpen has enough margin, and that's not a comfortable way to play baseball games and series and do that week after week when you feel like the bullpen puts you in really tough spots. And it matters at the beginning of the year, like defining those roles, figuring out who's in that circle of trust. Um, it is just one loss, but um, it has shades of last year. And Ryan Presley himself, the guy that was brought in to kind of solidify the back end of the bullpen because he's had so much success with the Astros, has had a great career, but he does not look like the same guy. He's 36 now, not throwing nearly as hard. He almost gave up a 3-run lead in the ninth inning on Saturday's game. He sneaked out of that one. He struggled in the Japan series. There's a lot to be concerned about, I guess, in the early going for the Cubs bullpen. And we'll see if they can right the ship with some more games. And then the Reds, Terry Francona taking over a new bullpen. Their typical closer, Alexis Diaz, is out with the injury. We talked about who might step up to take this role, be it a dark horse like a Graham Ashcraft, or some of the guys that have been in the bullpen like a Tony Santillan, or a guy that's had closer success in Taylor Rogers. But on opening day, Terry Francona decided that Santillan would pitch the 7th, Emilio Pagan would pitch the 8th, and then out of nowhere, the guy that nobody had discussed as a closer candidate came out to pitch the 9th in a save situation, Ian Jabot. And he blew the game, and the Giants won, and everybody was second-guessing that, as often happens when a closer blows a save. I don't get this one. Like, you have a lot more experienced guys in the closer role in Pagan and Rogers. I don't really get the move to go with the less talented reliever and the guy that doesn't really have save experience in Jabot. Maybe it was just a product of those specific matchups or something, but bit surprised by that. I think Francona said after the game that he wished he would flip those two in Jabot and Pagan. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would rather let Santillan, the guy that looks like the most talented reliever in the pen, or Graham Ashcraft, super hard thrower, get that look. But curious to see what the Reds do as Diaz remains out of action for the time being. And then my last loser of the weekend, Rafael Devers. He probably had one of the worst 4-game series of his entire career. But before I go I guess I'm going to back up because I didn't get a chance to talk about Devers on the podcast and just his situation over the offseason. As the Alex Bregman situation kind of came to its conclusion, he signed with the Red Sox. It brought up the question, who's going to man third base? Logically, it made sense that Devers would move off third base because he's rated out as a worse defender than Bregman, actually one of the worst third base defenders in the game right now. He was given some assurances that he would play third base by the old administration who signed him to the large contract. And then he made comments early after the signing that I'm a third baseman, I'm not a DH. And he sort of walked back those comments a little bit later by saying, yeah, I'll do whatever the team wants me to do. But he had a chance to make those same comments initially and build up a lot more goodwill with the fans. I mean, it's not like Devers was playing for a contract. He already has a contract. So he really should have no issue doing whatever the team wants him to do and be the team guy. You can build a popularity for yourself by putting the team above yourself. And Devers is going to do what he does best, which is hit. And it's something that's going to help him in the long run. I mean, maybe he realized that after the fact. I mean, it's hard to give up an identity as a third baseman, because he's surely been doing that, his whole life. I get that, but I would have liked to see him have the kind of awareness to make that call earlier and kind of endear himself to the fans by being that team guy and then going out and mashing. Getting back to this series, it was a struggle. Like, he struck out 10 times in the first 3 games, ended up striking out 12 times total over the weekend in 16 at-bats. 0 for 16 with 12 strikeouts. That is brutal. The Red Sox lost 3 close games in this series. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Rangers. It's just a reminder, the Red Sox I've seen them be a trendy World Series pick, a division winner pick, because of maybe the injuries to the Yankees and the Orioles. And I think we need to remember that the Red Sox are a flawed team themselves. They do not necessarily have a 1-5 rotation that is totally reliable. I mean, Tanner Houck looked really bad in his first start. And again, no drawn conclusions here. It's just Tanner Houck's not exactly a established major league starter. He's done it for 1 year, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be the same Tanner Houck this year. I mean, that's the big unknown for the Red Sox. And they've got talent. They've got tons of position player talent and young talent coming soon. It's just not a foregone conclusion that they're gonna take the league by storm and everything's gonna click right at once. I've got no concerns about Devers. I think he's a constant in this lineup. He's gonna be fantastic. I don't take anything away from an 0 for 16, as bad as it looks on paper. Apparently, Luis Ariz has started both 2024 and 2025, 0 for 13 on the season. So take what you will with this opening weekend. Have fun with overreactions, but that's all they are at this point. And it's fun to do that, but remember, it's a long season, and all these numbers are going to be different a week from now. So looking forward to collecting some more sample and watching some more baseball. There's so much to take in the early goings of the season. Lots of fun, and we'll talk to you next time to break it all down.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.